like if you found the video valuable. When Sarah Montgomery inherited her late uncle's bookstore, Montgomery & Sons Antiquarian Books, she was 28, recently unemployed, and ready for a quiet life. Nestled in the sleepy town of Alder Creek, the shop was a relic, wooden shelves towering with first editions, the scent of paper and time lingering in every corner. It was exactly the kind of escape she thought she needed. But 3 weeks in, Sarah realized the shop held secrets. It began on a rainy Wednesday. Sarah was reorganizing the classics section when an old book fell from the top shelf, The Count of Monte Cristo. A faded receipt fluttered out, catching her attention. It was dated March 12, the day before her uncle's sudden and mysterious death. She smoothed it open on the front desk. The receipt listed one item: Echoes of Silence, $19.99. The buyer's name was scratched out. Scribbled at the bottom in her uncle's shaky hand were 5 chilling words: "Do not sell to Marcus." Sarah checked the shop's catalog. No record of Echoes of Silence. No such book on the shelves. Not even an ISBN match. Puzzled, she called up the local inventory backup stored on an ancient floppy disk her uncle had kept. Still nothing. That night, Sarah lay awake wondering who Marcus was, and why this mysterious book had to be hidden from him. The next morning, the bell over the shop door jingled as a tall man stepped in. He wore a charcoal gray coat, dripping from the rain, and a fedora pulled low. His presence filled the small space with unease. "Good morning," Sarah said, forcing cheer. "Can I help you?" He smiled thinly. "I'm looking for a book." Echoes of Silence. Her heart skipped. She struggled to mask her reaction. "I'm afraid I've never heard of that one." The man's smile faltered just a bit. He stepped closer. "Are you sure? Your uncle had it on hold for me. I don't think he kept a hold shelf." "No," the man said, eyes darkening. He didn't trust shelves. He trusted safes. Before she could respond, he tipped his hat and left, his wet shoes leaving fading prints on the old wooden floor. Sarah knew then this was no coincidence. That evening, she ventured into the basement, flashlight in hand. It was mostly unused: stacked crates, old signage, and unused furniture. In the far corner, she discovered something odd. The wood-paneled wall had a narrow seam. Behind a dusty portrait, she found a small keypad safe embedded in the wall. She stared at it. A 4-digit code. Her birthday didn't work. Neither did her uncle's. She tried the date on the receipt: 0312. Click. Inside was a cloth-wrapped parcel. Her hands trembled as she unwrapped it. There it was. Echoes of Silence, a leather-bound book with no author name. The cover was pristine, yet the pages inside were yellowed. The first page read, "For Sarah. Do not trust Marcus." Her uncle's handwriting. She flipped through it. At first, it seemed like a novel. But the narrative was strange, part fiction, part journal. The story described a man named Marcus Bell, a collector of forbidden knowledge, whose obsession with occult texts drove him to destroy anyone who stood in his way. The eerie part? Many passages matched real events. Fires in neighboring towns, disappearances, even the death of her uncle's old friend, Harold Linton, a name she vaguely remembered from childhood. The deeper she read, the more disturbing it became. The final chapter described Montgomery & Sons Antiquarian Books. The narrator, her uncle, clearly detailed how he came into possession of the book and realized it was writing itself as events unfolded. The last page ended with, "He will come for it again. When he does, hide it. Or he will take everything." That night, her dreams were haunted by flickering lights, hollow voices, and a man with no eyes standing at the foot of her bed whispering her name. When she woke, there was mud on the bookstore stairs. The front door was ajar. She ran to the basement. The safe was still closed. The book still inside. But on the mirror behind the counter, words were scrawled in condensation. "Where is the book?" Sarah decided to go to the police. Officer Danvers was a friendly man who had known her uncle, but when she explained everything, minus the occult details, he simply nodded and said, "Must have been kids or the storm." "Someone came into the store last night," she insisted. "They left footprints. They opened the door. Any signs of forced entry?" "No. But, no crime, Sarah. Keep your doors locked. Let us know if something happens again." She turned to her uncle's journal, which she found tucked under the register. He'd kept records of rare books, strange customers, even coded entries about Marcus. One caught her eye. "Marcus Bell, not human. Do not look into his eyes. Does not age." Obsessed with the book, she flipped back to a sketch. a symbol etched on the inside cover of Echoes of Silence. It resembled an Ouroboros, only the serpent had two heads, both biting each other. She didn't know what it meant, but she knew one thing. She had to get rid of the book. That night, Sarah packed Echoes of Silence in a lockbox and drove out to Alder Creek's lake. She hesitated only a moment before hurling the box into the water, watching it vanish beneath the surface. She drove home with a strange sense of relief. She'd done the right thing. The next morning, the bookstore was quiet. No signs of break-in. No messages. But as she turned the "Open" sign on the door, she noticed something on the welcome mat. A soaking wet book. Echoes of Silence. The pages were dry. The inscription had changed. "You cannot throw away truth." She screamed and tossed it, but it always came back. In drawers. On her pillow. Even in her dreams. Until one morning, Sarah was gone. The bookstore door unlocked. The register untouched. On the front counter lay the book. The first page now read, "For the next guardian. Do not trust Marcus. He wears many faces." The last page. "Sarah is in the ledger now." And the bell above the shop door rang. End of story.